Hello and welcome everyone to yet another episode of BizCast 2024. Today with us is Mr. Ghazi Yaman, the managing partner of Brand Me and Bottle Flip Marketing Consultancy. We're delighted to have you, Mr. Ghazi. Taking it further from here, it'll be great if you could just give a brief introduction to our audience of yourself.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me. Amazing introduction. Appreciate that. Just if someone asks me to introduce myself, I'm just someone that tries to do better. That's how I like to say it. But in terms of what I do, you have marketing, you have events, you have tech. So I'm really, quite versed in these three different spaces. Something that I'm really passionate about. I actually started as a computer engineer, and during my university years, I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed computers, and I was a computer engineer for games.
Right.
So you can imagine you can imagine how much fun that was.
Yeah.
But I always had that personality of interacting with people, making friends and these kind of things. So I realized that marketing is like the core of business.
Right.
Not just business, it was during the USA elections that got me interested in personal branding, as per se. Because it literally...
Donald Trump?
No, not Donald. It was way before Donald.
All right.
But I'm not going to mention which one, but...
All right. We'll keep that.
So, I just saw the presidential elections and I was like, all what they're doing is personal branding. And now he's president.
Right.
Like, it got me thinking, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. This is an interesting space to be.
Right.
So I pursued marketing and I never looked back.
Wonderful. How long was that? As in when you sort of decided perhaps you want to be an entrepreneur and perhaps get into marketing yourself?
Okay.
Rather than just...
So getting into marketing was about 12 years ago, but starting my own thing and becoming an entrepreneur.
Well, now I'm calculating which elections you're talking about.
But starting marketing is about starting my own thing is about 4 years and a half.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. So 4 years is when we got into Brand Me, or was that Bottle Flip that you talked
That
about?
was Bottle Flip.
Bottle Flip. Let's talk about the beginning and how it happened, how you guys got together, and
Yeah, so Bottle Flip was a marketing agency. Ayman, my brother, he started blowing up on social media, and then we started getting a lot of inbound leads like, yo guys, can you manage my social media? Can we do a collaboration? Can we do this? Can we do that? And then we started getting approached by so many agencies and trying to give us our services as an influencer or as a blogger or something like that. And then we're like, why should we give it to anyone else? I mean, I do have a background in marketing. I'm well versed. I have already connections in the industry because of my previous roles, my previous jobs. So we're like, you know what, we can do it ourselves.
Right.
Thank God for the UAE, bro. 6 hours, I had a license,
Right.
Few phone calls, boom, 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 done the payment, done. License is there. Another 12 hours, we already had a first client.
Wow.
Obviously, that client was a bit understanding with the bank and everything, but we're close friends. So we were able to really do a good job. And then we used their name in the next 2-3 months to close the next 4 or 5 clients. And I was still working a 9 to 5. So that was like
Side
hustle all the way,
Right.
But yeah, it was a challenge, like managing my role and my job, which was highly demanding. It was like I was working for a unicorn startup, so you can imagine the kind of pressure they put on you.
Absolutely.
And then also growing the business from zero, technically. It was interesting.
So when you talk about Bottle Flip, was that more of a planned startup, or was that something that you saw potential in and you perhaps just jumped into execution of it?
It was more like impromptu. You know how you're in the store and you look at the Snickers and you just take it? That's literally how I started. Me and Ayman started Bottle Flip. But Brand Me was planned.
Right. Let's talk about Brand Me now. Let's talk about what's coming up with Brand Me. How has it been? I believe you guys have done a summit recently as well. So let's just go about it. How it started. Where are we going?
So look, for us, we have a different philosophy in the market. We don't like to start a business, put the investment, get an office, hire people, buy the assets before having a platform. before having our reputation out there, before having a market, before positioning ourselves in the market.
Right.
So Brand Me started off as a personal branding platform. The idea, the big idea.
Right.
We did a small market study. We saw that this is a new industry within the social media space.
Right.
So we wanted to do it different, right? Because most companies, and you're here the expert, right? They come, they start spending before they have money in.
Absolutely.
So what we decided to do is to leverage our positioning in the market and leverage Ayman's presence and leverage all of the connections we have to create a summit and to kind of like introduce the industry
and the brand
in the market.
Right.
So it kind of like flipped. We're bottle flipping. At the end of the day, we flipped the entire thing 360.
Absolutely.
So we started with the summit. We invited all of our friends that Ayman asked them, what do you do for a living? These are industry drivers.
Right.
These guys tell you where we're going next. They're not industry leaders. They're like on top of that. So it was pretty interesting. We got the top CEOs, the top businessmen, the top businesswomen in the region. Some of like Mona Katan, Firas Limsaddi, some of the top bloggers like Quick Style, they have 15 million, the guys that dance. So we got them all under one roof. Funny enough, the total net worth under that roof was $50 billion.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
Tremendous.
Dollars, So we were quite shocked, and
that's the first summit you guys did.
That's the first summit we did, and that gave us mad positioning in the market. Like you can't understand the earned media we received because of this. Like this completely changed our branding, or our branding as people, me and Ayman, but also our branding as a company. So then, in parallel, we were working on our platform.
Perfect.
So now we have all the credibility and all the trust and all the authenticity because we promised and delivered.
Absolutely.
And we created a new industry within the social media space. Like much how Red Bull does it,
Right.
Instead of competing with sodas and energy and drinks, fizzy drinks, they made energy drinks, and they were the first movers.
Correct. Oh yeah, I never thought of that way.
Yeah. So we're doing something similar here. We're right at the top of the iceberg. Attention now is gold. Everyone's trying to build a community. Everyone's trying to position themselves as an industry expert, as someone that's credible, knowledgeable, someone that's really can give value. And if you think about it, you can start with just the phone.
Right. Absolutely.
It's in our pockets. We just haven't really used it.
It's just about getting started, So the very basic idea of people saying, we do not have the finances aligned yet to start the business. It is more about just getting started. Exactly what you guys have done.
And then not just that, like we even sourced it. Like we even went out and sold sponsorships. So technically we were in the plus. Right? I mean, we didn't make money, but we didn't lose money.
Correct.
So...
But build trust, right? That's more important in the market.
Building trust is the number one thing you can ever do in the market. And instead of starting from the ground up, we kind of started way ahead, maybe even 2 or 3 years, I can say.
Correct. So let's consider the last 4 years. That's when you started getting into the industry.
Yeah.
How have you seen the transitions happen in these 4 years? What do you think has changed? Things that were quite integral 4 years back, perhaps, because 4 years are a long time for specifically such an industry. What were certain things that were integral that perhaps are no longer relevant?
Okay.
So
to answer your question, Marcus, I've been in the marketing industry for 8 years. 4 of them I was working corporate, and then 4 running my own thing.
Correct.
So what I see before is, like, for example, some of the top retail F&B brands, I'm not going to mention names, but they were spending about $32 million for the region. And I was like part of the team that managed that budget.
So is that the entire MENA region or just the
MENA?
UAE?
That was the entire MENA region, right?
Yeah.
So that's a crazy budget for marketing,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. And it was a retail brand, the FMCG. we're spending it on outdoor and this and that and media, radio, TVCs and this. Huge budgets, man. Like you're talking about millions and millions in spends just for outdoor, just for radio, just for TV. Whereas nowadays, okay, the shift went totally digital and also totally authentic. Like as simple as having a phone and creating content with your phone, people are liking and trusting that more than this huge polished mediums that used to be there. Right? Because nowadays, even like when you see an ad, you just like, get out my face. I don't want to see it. That's it. Like people got used to getting advertised to. So as a brand, you should really adopt and change your strategy to become more social, you know, more with the people. That's what people are,
I think the most important thing is understanding your target audience, right? So is your target audience on the radios for the marketing?
Yes.
I mean, are they there? Are they on the advertisings that you see on the roads, etc.? Because 32 million can be wasted. You make nothing out of it.
I'll tell you, like billboards. I saw one of the talks for Mr. Al-Abbar about billboards, right? And the funny thing, he was saying that these billboards on the streets, and nothing to, if you want to post on a billboard, please do. But these billboards on the streets are just for the CEO's ego. Because think about it, 50% of the people driving on the roads are drivers. So they're going to be focused. They're not going to be looking at the billboards, right? The other 20 to 30% are on their phones. So that leaves us about 20 to 15%. And this might not even be your target audience. So who are you marketing to and what are you spending on? I mean, I get it. If you have the extra budget and you want to do the flex and you want to show people how powerful you are, do it. But I would argue, why don't you take that budget and go all in on digital?
Because you get to your specific target audience. Otherwise, you're just out there for everyone to see and perhaps no one to just buy from.
Exactly. And like it becomes more of like just marketing, and you're not really funneling it into one place. Where you can actually harvest this marketing.
Or is it basically just PR where you're not expecting any revenue to come from and you're just out there for the sake of the brand?
But you can still get your brand out there much less budget. Even I would argue more effective, because nowadays even people at home, they have the TV open but they're not even watching. And they're not even watching TV, they're watching probably some streaming service, but they're on their phone. So can you imagine how glued are we to our phones? It's pretty interesting, And the way these social media platforms are built is they need content for people to consume so they can advertise. So if you as a business or you as a person start producing content that's valuable for people to take in, then you're getting free exposure, free marketing, I call it. Obviously you can integrate that within your paid strategy, but I'll let you in on a secret. We were spending maybe 10% of the total cost that we had for the Brand Me Summit on paid advertising. Everything else was earned media.
So you're saying 90% of the marketing thing was earned media and 10% was the only thing that you paid for.
Yes.
And you got 56 or 60.
Sold out.
Right, sold out. And you had what, 70 billion you mentioned under one roof?
50 billion.
$50 billion, wow.
So we had so much value. Who doesn't want to meet these people? Who doesn't want to meet these crazy CEOs that built themselves from zero? Right? So we were able to attract so much exposure that even now the governments are interested for Brand Me Summit 2. Wow, so that brings us up to Abu Dhabi. Hopefully we're gonna do number 2, and we're in discussions whether to do it in Abu Dhabi or Dubai. But it did make that much noise.
So is there any estimate timeline when you guys are planning that?
So next year, definitely happening. We're already, in the motion, but I can't announce it yet.
Absolutely.
Until we have locked in the venue. Once the venue is locked in, we're gonna go all out. So this time we did 50 billion. We're aiming for 100 plus billion dollars. Wow. So billion with a B,
Yeah, billion with a B. And dollars, not
dollars, not dirhams. Dirhams is okay. It's impressive, but $1 billion is like what? So we're planning for number 2. This time we're going to also have some interesting global names, not just the regional and local names.
Right.
So we really want to make a buzz. We really want to share the knowledge. All of our events, it's not for profit. There's a difference between non-profit and not-for-profit. So when I say not-for-profit, means our objectives primarily is not for profit. Our objective is to introduce and create that industry and give out free value and create that community. Because Brand Me is technically a tech startup. What is the value of any tech startup? It's users and its community.
Correct.
Look at all of these big giants in the market. A lot of them aren't even profitable, FYI, but they're raising funds in the millions, in the hundreds of millions. Why? Because they have a huge user base.
Right.
Like some of them have 100 million plus users. Can you imagine what kind of data you have about that person?
And I was also reading about this. There was a quote that stated that data is the new oil. And I think that is completely relevant in modern times, especially in the world that we're living in today, because everything is data. Conversations, perhaps just swiping on your Instagram, you're a data for some other company.
You're a data point for Instagram itself, for Meta, right?
Right.
The interesting thing is, instead of you being a data point, you start gathering your own data. Because if you're growing your social media platforms, then not just your business is a data point, and your customers is a data point, or people that interact with your business is a data point, but your social media platforms becomes also a data point for you, and then your business. So you have double data points, and it's easier for people to go viral because from the start of humankind, we always liked, interacting. It's part of our nature, bro. Humans are social creatures.
Social animals.
Exactly, social creature, social animals. So why did this disappear?
Correct.
In the industrial age. So now we're seeing a trend of that coming back. Now you'll tell me I'm a new entrepreneur, but I'm not an expert. I'm still learning.
Right.
Fine. Document your journey. You don't need to be an expert. People want to watch you go through your normal day, maybe even fail, maybe even show the real challenges that you're facing. Trust me, they're going to be interested.
Right. I'm not sure if you've heard of influencers from India who've just documented their day-to-day routines about working out and their social media sensations by now.
You're talking about working out. I know one guy in the USA. He has a 9-to-5 job, super boring. Bro is documenting his boring life. Wow. Even the tagline is day in the life of a basic person working 9 to 5, and he just shows you putting the laptop in his bag, walking to work, walking his dog. Millions of views, millions, and that became a business by itself because now he's putting brand endorsements within his daily routine, like he's drinking this juice and subtle things.
Right.
But imagine now you as a tech entrepreneur or you as a new entrepreneur, whatever industry you're in, you're documenting your journey, right? I'm not saying it might blow up fast. I'm not saying it might not. But what I'm saying is you're going to find this content very valuable later on in life.
Right.
Because hopefully you'll become big, you become huge. Then you have a lot of content that you can use. This is how I started. And you can prove to people. So it builds more credibility. People get really connected with you. Because me and you, we met each other a while back, but how do you become friends with someone?
You communicate, or you perhaps have the same ideas, you talk about the same things perhaps.
Yep, 100%. So that's one element of it. But what builds that deep friendship and trust between people? Communication, but the more I reveal about myself to you, the more I'm going to trust you because now I have more to lose.
Right.
If you want to think about it like that.
Right.
So if you start with that mindset or that angle on social media, and you're not gathering followers, you're gathering a community.
Yeah.
You're building a relationship with them. You're sharing more things about your personal life.
Right.
And be honest. Be like, okay, I failed.
Correct. In fact, that is a very important, that takes me to a very important point. All brands have a story to tell, right? So even when you're branding yourself, if there's a story, that's what people are more interested in, rather than the product. I mean, if you talk about the biggest brands, they have more of a story to tell rather than just a product.
Exactly.
Because if it's just a product, everyone can do that, right?
Everyone can take nice pictures of a product.
Correct.
Everyone can do nice graphics.
Yeah.
Everyone can do these things. But not everyone can tell a really deep, meaningful story that hits home.
Right.
You know?
Right.
A story that makes you like, no, man, I feel this. I believe in this. You know?
Yeah.
So part of you branding as a founder, you can easily do this. Whereas if you want to do this for your brand, it's going to take years of hard work because you're really going to make these associations and these kind of things. But you as a founder, creating videos online, being honest, like me, Ghazi Yaman, I failed 10 times before I was able to do this. And this is exactly how I failed.
Yeah.
Boom, viral. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
But I think the audience itself is evolving with time, right? They want more educated content, perhaps more truthful and real content rather than just someone, selling something for the sake of it, right? I understand what you're saying. So let's take it from here. We've discussed that storytelling is integral for a brand. Let's say if there is a new age entrepreneur or perhaps a person coming up to brand me, what are the three important aspects, the first three key things that you guys discuss with them, or perhaps would tell a new age entrepreneur to go about when he's starting his entrepreneurial journey, right? We have a lot of clients that come to us. They do not have much idea about what business they want to get into. They have a basic idea about the nature of the business perhaps, but they don't know how to escalate or grow it from 0 to 1. So for entrepreneurs who are going from 0 to 1, how do you guys go about it? How do you guys guide them or perhaps consult them? Let's talk about that.
Okay, interesting take on it's a great question actually. First time someone asked me this kind of question. If you're a new entrepreneur, I would suggest, okay, you probably already know what industry you're gonna get into.
Absolutely.
Right? You wanna open a restaurant, you wanna open a tech startup, you wanna have a dog, pet business, whatever it is. I would say start with marketing.
Right.
Much similar strategy of what we did with Brand Me is start with marketing, test out the market, get a community before you put that huge investment.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And by the way, there is nothing wrong with having a community and then using like a partner, make a partnership with a pet store, for example, and then you get a cut of that by the time you have enough capital to then make it feasible to open your own pet store,
Right.
to open your own pet grooming, to open your own salon, to open your own restaurant, to open your own tech startup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that is also an interesting.
So basically, the first thing is building a community around your target audience, right? You have to understand whom you're selling to first of all, and then you take it further from there. Right, got it.
So it is the new age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of business, not just marketing. Pretty interesting angle and way to go about it. People normally don't like to do it because it's like you're really working on the long term.
Right.
But again, I'll tell you, are you here to win or are you here to make a quick buck?
Consistency.
If you're here to make a quick buck, you might be okay on the short term, but long term, you won't be able to grow it that much.
Correct. You've interacted with a lot of big clients. You've worked with billionaires, you mentioned. So what is, I'm sure there must be something that separates these high ultra net worth individuals from the rest. What do you think is that one thing that you've found common in all these individuals? And what is it that's missing in the rest of the pack?
It's not about what's missing. It's about I'll tell you like within our network, you have the ultra multi-millionaires, billionaires, etc. Right? The more someone is successful, and the more you think of them like big shot, the more humble they are. And the less someone is successful, the more arrogant they have, the attitude. I don't know what's the balance between these two, or what's the equation here? But it just kind of like shows you that.
I'll give you an example for
Yeah.
that. Now, that takes me to a very interesting story. I was growing up as a kid, and my mother taught me something about humility back then, probably 5, 6 years old. And we had a yard in the back, and we had a mango tree right there. So I'm not sure where the conversation came from about humility. And she goes like, "Do you see that mango tree?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "When there's fruit, you see the tree bending down, right? Because of the weight of the fruit,
Yeah.
right?
I like that.
And when there's no fruit, it just stands straight, right? So when you see these ultra high net worth individuals, not just in terms of money, but in terms of success,
and
right?
status. Yeah.
You see them with the fruits, you see humility in them. But the ones who do not have that stand straight.
Bro, I love that.
Yeah.
That's such a nice analogy. Like for me, I was gonna say we both end up in the grave. You know, like what do you?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up with. I was like, yeah, that does make sense. When you become successful, it is more about what you can do for others. You know, how you can pass that on. Because if you just have it to yourself, there's no use of it, right? So I believe that's what separates them.
That's like a big thing. Like I've actually noticed it as well. You know, and these ultra successful, you know, ultra rich, ultra everything,
Right.
like they don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Correct.
And that's part of it as well. You know, like they let their actions speak louder than, you know, everything else.
Right. So we discussed about, let's say, the last 5 years now. Things have changed. What are the transitions in the marketing and branding industry been? Where do you think the next 5 years are going? I mean, we see a lot about the AI integrations in marketing. What do you think has been that transition like, and where do you think we're going? Like, what's exactly going on with the AI in marketing?
Faster paced content, easier for people to get started. Look, everything from ideation to the final edit can be automated. The only thing you'll need is the shooting. You know?
Correct.
Even the editing, there's a lot of softwares now, and they're getting better day by day. That actually does the edits for you. Obviously, you'll need like an operator, someone that's good with editing, just to do these tweaks here and there. But overall, AI can do it for you, and AI can do it better and faster.
And go ahead.
Like, I'll give you an example, Mark.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's what I've
We were able to cut down 60% of our workforce.
Wow.
Like I was telling you how big my team was. It was bigger. But now we're more efficient. We're smaller. We can even cater to more clients because of AI.
Wow.
And we've engineered prompts and we use AI tools to a level where most of our work is integrated and automated. Yeah. Like, do you believe I haven't written an email or a proposal in the last 2 years?
Are you serious?
I'm not joking.
Not written an email for
not
the last
written
2 years.
an email. Like, I kid you not. I'll have most of it written by AI and high-level proposals. Boom, bam, bam, sale. Yeah. Boom, bam, bam, sale. It's crazy.
Man, I need to learn that. I'm writing 10 emails a day to my clients every day.
Dude, the level that you can go into the prompt and not just the surface level prompt. Like our prompt is maybe 3-4 pages long.
Okay.
But then you change some of the criteria in that prompt. Bam. You have a beautifully written email that sounds like a human. Because a lot of them, they sound too AI-y. Right. I don't know how to say it. But yeah, that it sounds superhuman. Like I haven't written even a proposal. Like maximum I'll do is get it to write the proposal on my behalf. And then just add it to the deck and boom.
Wow. And what about the time consumption? I'm pretty sure it's like 10x faster than typing and writing an email yourself.
100%. Yeah. Like what you're talking fraction of the time.
Right.
Whereas it used to take you 1 hour, 2 hours. You just have the strategy here. Right. Say you execute it within that prompt template that we have. Bam, output. Let's go.
Taking from the fact that you said, that has helped you reduce your workforce. Now that's good for the company, right? The operational expense goes down. But for the individuals who are getting laid off, perhaps not that good. So there were some conversations that I had with a few people stating the fact that AI would replace jobs, would replace people. But would that actually happen? in terms of, let's say, specific to marketing?
Not really, man. Like I've seen a lot of CEOs that are operating in this space and are creating tools in this space. It's not gonna really like same like the industrial era. They used to do everything manual, and then now there's machines.
Right.
They still have a workforce, but the workforce is operating these machines.
Correct.
Much less workforce, but you get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's gonna happen.
So the human dependency reduces, but it is essential for you to have the humans in the company too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have them. Correct.
Yeah.
Perfect. So let's say you've grown to these two successful businesses over the past 5 years, and it's been incredible. You've worked with some great companies, great individuals. What advice do you have for an entrepreneur who's just starting out? Number one, how do you think an individual can survive in this marketplace? We discussed on what's the 0 to 1, right? But the survival of entrepreneurs who've been existing, let's say, for roughly 2-3 years, maximum 4 years, not more than that. How is the survival being impacted when there are companies who are, targeting them with AI modules, and then there are companies that are just spending on marketing and do not exactly know how to go about it? Does that make sense? Though?
Yeah, like always be on top of the trends, be on top of the research. Don't be scared to apply new things.
Right.
And if you're doing a strategy and it's not working, stop it, do something else.
Right.
A lot of people are fixated and they're scared to dabble in these things and to really dig deep, but it does give you an unfair advantage over everyone else. So what I would say for entrepreneurs that have been in the market for this much or this time, get obsessed with systems and automations and integrations. Because it's gonna really streamline your entire operation. So entrepreneurs, starting off 2 or 3 years, maybe they're understanding their business model, polishing that business model and seeing how the money is coming in. But they need to really obsess on integrations and automations using AI, because then client satisfaction is just gonna go up. Because speed is everything. People nowadays, they can't even hold their attention for 3 seconds.
Correct.
So the faster you are, the better. Like I can get my food to my house in 15 minutes in Dubai, So imagine if you as a service or as a product or whatever you are offering, you can be that fast. With AI, with integrations, you can. And the clients will just be mind blown, So yeah.
Anything else that you have to say about AI, about companies, marketing, branding, anything of that sort?
I'll let you on a secret, right? Speaking on AI, okay? I've never said this on a podcast, and this comes out, it's probably gonna make me lose money. But I'm gonna say it anyway, right? So I have an avatar of me. I filmed it once, and it's industry specific at the agency. So this is for sales, outbound sales. Okay. We've identified the top 200-300 companies that needs our services in every industry that we cater to, be it real estate, be it tech, be it crypto, whatever. And I filmed an avatar of myself saying the main pain points that these companies have. Now, we have an AI that goes and evaluates their social media, their website, and gets the contacts of that person and sends them an avatar of me, video avatar with their name.
Wow.
Like, hey Mark, this is a video for you. And then the video starts and it'll be like, hey Mark, what's up? How are you? Ghazi here. I'm not another AI video. Bro, the response rate on this is like 70%. It's mind blowing. I was shocked with the results, and you gotta be careful though, when you set that meeting, and the meeting also sets directly on Calendly, so there's no human interaction in the entire process.
Wow.
Right? But you should be careful, because when you set that meeting, make sure that you go ahead and see that conversation on email. The AI is sending emails on my behalf and replying to their inquiries.
Even the replies?
Even the replies, bro, It's crazy.
And that's specific to the conversation that's happening?
Specific to the...
that's
so accurate.
Incredible.
Around 95% accuracy, which is fine to run automatically. I mean, some errors sometimes. It's okay.
Right. And you mentioned about the software where your AI digs the data and gets the details of your clients as well. So is that something you can mention, or is that something you can reveal perhaps, or not at all?
You know where to find me. I can do this for you. Yeah.
Got it. All right, but that's incredible, man. Where you have a research team, market research, doing a proper research on your target audience, on the clients that you can perhaps get to.
Acquire.
You have an AI doing the work like this for you.
Yeah.
Right.
And does it like 10 times more efficient
And faster.
And, yeah, like per day we're approaching about 50 to 100 clients. These are like hot leads.
Wow.
So you're talking about sending them personalized, not emails, not messages, personalized video.
Right.
Imagine how special they feel.
Absolutely.
Like you get a video like, oh shit, it's for me. He said my
It's not
name.
just any marketing campaign or an advertising, something that
This has been
buy this or buy that. It's
working wonders.
incredible. Yeah, man. That's cool. That's something I never heard of before. I mean, I didn't know about.
It's a new thing. Like we literally
Absolutely.
started applying it maybe 1 month ago. We already closed like 3 clients because of it.
Wow. That's
And in my field, closing 3 high ticket clients,
yeah, it's a big deal.
Not bad.
Yeah.
not bad.
Right. Anything else that you'd leave us with? Let's say one piece of advice that you give to youngsters, perhaps starting a business or wanting to be entrepreneurs. Someone in that age of early 20s, perhaps going towards
3 words. And if people have been following me and they know what I'm about to say, do it now.
Right.
Forget Nike. Nike says just do it.
Just do it.
You can just do it eventually. No, forget that.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Right.
That's the key word.
Correct.
Because one of my regrets as an entrepreneur, and I like to think that I'm still fairly young, but one of my regrets is I didn't start earlier. Like I was wasting time, man. What I was doing in university, I could have been also working on the side,
Right.
on my own thing,
Right.
right? Even during my corporate job, I could have started earlier. But everyone has their timelines up.
Right. And I think most people have this perspective that they need to first sort of gather the information, learn more about it rather than getting started. But I think the biggest teacher itself is just getting started. You
100%.
learn more about the business than being in the business itself, right?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Could not agree more.
All right. So that's been our time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time, Ghazi. It's really, really great to have this conversation with you. We really enjoyed it. I'm sure our viewers did enjoy as well. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more videos.